Hello everyone. During the last century, we were using a huge chemical fertilizers in our agricultural system. And by this way, it already destroyed our natural ecosystem, destroyed everything around us by using this kind of synthetic chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and unfortunately we are still using this until now. So we have to find alternative agricultural system. Let's say like organic agriculture, sustainable agriculture. It means that we are not using any kind of chemicals, we are saving the environment, we are trying to think in a sustainable way to provide sufficient food for everyone. But everything is controlled by a big companies. It's all about business. And we are still thinking about organic agriculture. Is it really a business or it is something really useful for our food security? So we have a lot of questions in our mind, and let's see how we can survive in this earth.
Not necessarily organic agriculture and sustainable agriculture are synonyms. By this I mean that if you look at the recent trends in organic agriculture, so as soon as organic agriculture has become very fancy and a big business, and there are a lot of people, a lot of farmers, a lot of institutions which are becoming more and more interested in organic agriculture, there is a risk I see, and it's a concrete risk, of what I call conventionalization of organic farming. And by this, I mean that organic farming is becoming more and more large scale, which in itself is nothing wrong. But if this is accompanied by a trend towards just input substitutions, I mean, if farmers are just looking for the best non-chemical alternative to whatever chemical solution, so to say, this is not enough. I think that this in the end will jeopardize the future of organic agriculture. It is quite clear, and I think it's also a matter of being transparent to the consumers who are interested in buying organic food, to tell them that there is not just one organic agricultural system, there are many agricultural systems. Just to make it simple, I will say there are two main groups of organic agricultural system. One is the so-called industrialized type of organic farming, which is perfectly in line with what the regulation on organic farming tells, but the solutions that are tried are very much conventional, so it's very much input substitution driven. The other type of organic farming is what I would call agroecologically related solutions. It's more in line with the foundation, also the ethical and the spirit of organic farming. So just looking and try to learn from nature and try to find the solution in what nature or natural environments can provide. This will mean, to some extent, trying to reduce as much as possible the use of external inputs, be they fertilizer or pesticides or energy in general, and try to recycle as much as possible energy and matter. But this is probably not in line with the concept of large-scale agriculture. So it's probably more for small-scale or medium-scale farmers. So in the end, I see no contradiction in identifying two parallel tracks. One organic agricultural system for the larger farms and another type of organic agricultural system for the small-scale farms. But it's important to tell the people that this is the case. So under the blanket of organic agriculture or under the label organically certified food, there is a lot of very different ways of farming.
The first thing is that organic should not be introduced as a high income or fashionable way of production. The message that has to be delivered to the consumers as well as all other actors or stakeholders should be that organic is paying a lot of attention to balance the impact of agriculture or agri-practices, including food distribution, consumption, to minimize its effect on environment, and also to balance it with the economic outputs of the whole process, but at the same time pay attention to the social issues. So if we are able to carry out this message and apply organic agriculture by paying more attention to the basic principles which takes care of the whole world, health care, takes precautionary approaches to the applications, and also looks at the cycling of natural resources within the world or the global ecosystem, I think the result will be the best for both the producers and the consumers and for our planet.
Well, if you're talking about agriculture or the main challenge that the agricultural system may face, I think that a clear risk is losing the knowledge, losing the traditional knowledge, losing the ability of coping with problems, and just relying on technical solutions which are provided by somebody else. Not necessarily the industry, it could be a research institution or whatever. If farmers are losing their traditional knowledge, and this could be related to the importance of saving traditional cultivars, for example, of their local crops, but also the way they traditionally manage their crops. In Africa, sub-Saharan Africa is an area I'm more familiar with. There are some excellent examples of highly diversified systems, like agroforestry systems, which work very well. They are really sustainable, and they can sustain also the livelihood of local people at the level of small communities, say villages, for example. And this, I think, is a very important source of inspiration, should be an important source of inspiration also for farmers in other countries, not necessarily developing countries. I think European farmers or North American farmers have a lot to learn from this type of traditional system. Of course, they need adaptation to the local situation, but the spirit, the approach of those systems is very much important. And those systems, they can survive because there is still a high level of traditional knowledge, and local people are aware of this. But look at genetically modified crops. For me, the problem is not in the technology itself. For me, the problem is that the message associated with the promotion of genetically modified food is do it simple, do it as large scale as possible. We provide you the ready-to-use solution so you can forget about your knowledge. This is a big risk, I think, because there is no solution in agriculture that will be valid forever. But meanwhile, if you lose your knowledge, then you are really in deep trouble. So it's not just a matter of finding another technical solution, it's a matter of reconstructing your knowledge, and this is by far much more difficult.
I think organic can be applied at very small sized farmers as well, because if we'll focus on the input use or recycling, it means that they don't spend much for the production. So they have less cost and they are able to compete in the world, not in the world maybe, but at the domestic market level or even at the world level. But for the politicians, there's a need to improve the knowledge status of the farmers, to carry the best messages to these farmers, and also to supply support, not only financial support, but through research, through the support of inputs, through the support of the market. The politicians can promote organic agriculture even at smallholder level, and this can promote food security for those rural areas and preserve the environmental resources, and at the same time improve the livelihoods of those rural families.
I will suggest get to the farmers, involve them from the very beginning in constructing the priorities for sustainable agriculture rather than giving them a solution from above. That will be my best suggestion.